Okay, here's some trending news we can all have some fun with. Yeah, we're still going to argue, but at least it's about music. And here's what happened. Rolling Stone modified their list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. And it's got a lot of people coming forward with their constructive criticisms.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Ram by Paul and Linda McCartney. It's alright. Otis Redding, Dictionary of Soul. It's good. Like, that's like my verdict for a lot of these. Bad Bunny times 100 pre. What the fuck is that?
I have a lot to say about this. This is perfect timing for me because here on my YouTube channel I'm getting into music, and just in my last video I said I'll be reviewing Rush songs, and I said and so much more. Well, here you go. So I want to get some things out of the way that we should all understand. There's the fact that when it comes to music, everybody's got a bias, and I suppose Rolling Stone should update these lists every once in a while. But the timing of this one is interesting, right in the heart of Black Lives Mattering and social justice. Another thing is, Rolling Stone is not very respected with these lists, not taken very seriously, but they're still legitimate enough to get people upset.
Can I just ask this question? Does anyone care anymore? Or does anyone feel that Rolling Stone magazine has any significance or has it become a total joke at this point?
Well, that guy's not biased. It's not a total joke. And this kind of a list does serve a good purpose. I think the most important thing is it'll introduce people to different music. It also might question some dogmas out there about who's the greatest band of all time and will ever be. And maybe not is so great. It can open people's minds, maybe realize that if they open their mind more, they see a different reality. Another thing people should realize, notice the actual words of what this list is. The 500 greatest albums. I think I've mentioned this before. People don't understand that the word great does not mean very good. The word great can mean a lot of things. It can mean powerful, large. Alexander the Great, that doesn't mean he was really good. It means he was powerful. Then there's the great and powerful Oz. Great could mean popular, just anything really big. Which brings us to the criteria that may have been used for this list, or should have been used. Of course, one criteria is going to be quality of the music, but that's just one of many criteria. One of the others they did use is popularity. It wasn't just two people just going by what they think. There was voting involved. What I hear is it was voting from the readers of the magazine. That could involve thousands of people. And nothing wrong with that. With music, you got opinion, personal taste, so you should factor that in. But therein lies the problem. You just have to consider that and accept it. I don't know about other criteria they used, but others should be enjoyment of the music, writing, talent, skill, the quality of the sound, production of the album. Also, I'd like to throw in effort that it may have taken to make the album. I came up with that one while thinking of the difference between Rush and the Ramones. Now, I do like the Ramones hits, but it's not great music. And I just listened to the album that's on this list, and it's mostly simple junk. It does not belong on this list. And I was just thinking, I'll bet you the Ramones would agree. Here's an example of how much they thought of that album. There are many songs that are not even 2 minutes long. That's how little they thought about those songs.
This is not like a top 500 album.
When I first heard the news, I wanted to hear about the general changes, so I found this site. 5 interesting things we noticed about Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums list.
It sucks.
The last update was in 2003. Remained untouched for 17 years. Rolling Stone says they updated the list because, of course, new music is released all the time. Yeah, and not all of it is crap. Then they go on to say tastes and contemporary mores. What's that? Evolve. See, you got to take in that consideration. Tastes of the population at large. And yeah, things have changed, unfortunately. Mores are social norms. Aha. See, Rolling Stones has to appeal to all the normies out there who buy into the norms that are widely observed within a particular society or cult. That's where the word cult comes from, down here. The judgment says a lot about contemporary British social mores. They're blamed for a steady decline. Decline in all sorts of stuff. Music sure has declined. This list shows the decline and could further a decline. On the other hand, the list is bringing more types of music and music listeners in, and those people might be seeing the list for the first time, maybe introduced to the better music from the past. Let's see. And paramount to all that, the achievements of women and I don't know what that is. Black, indigenous, and people of color. The achievements of women and black people historically have been diminished or overlooked in favor of white male counterparts. I had not read this before. It's right here. Are they actually taking blame? They're saying in history, Rolling Stone's 2003 list was purposefully diminishing, overlooking. Really? Come on. They are just cucking, people. They're cucking to the current recent trend of PC, social justice warrior, anti-male sentiment going on. Look this up if you don't know this. White men are being pushed out of almost everything, and it's purposeful. But there's a reason these white men were there. You have to earn those spots. You can't have something for nothing. Okay, here's the 5 things. Canadians have a strong presence in the top 100. Alanis Morissette sits at number 69. I'd like to know what number she was at before. I'm going to go find that out. Okay, I actually found the entire list from 17 years ago. This will come in handy for my part 2 of this video. So this was on the list, but much further back. Think about this. This album existed in 2003. Now I can understand some albums dropping on the list because there's new music, but this album went up on the list. It jumped way up. Now how does that happen? It's because the magazine is just now recognizing the incredible popularity of the album, not considering why it's popular, but it is, and they've got to cater to that. The album didn't change. Society has changed. So they have decided to move that up. Let's see what else we got here. Taylor Swift is a newer artist who has joined this list. I think her music is catchy, and I guess it's good. I don't know if it deserves to be on this list. You can add your comment. Madonna, again, I don't know. Well, she's hugely popular. Her music, it sticks out. Now, Elvis Presley, I don't think so. I think he was overhyped, but he's huge. Okay, number 2. Wait, so those are all Canadian. Yeah, those are all Canadian? Wait a minute. Madonna's not Canadian. She's born in Michigan. Elvis, Canadian. Let's just move on. Okay, number 2. Black women crack the top 50. Right, they've always been on the list, but just not in the top 50. So what? Maybe they just weren't popular. Remember, it's about popularity. And they're more popular now. Look at the wordage. Remember, this isn't from Rolling Stone, though. This is just this website here. But notice the language. The 2003 list had a top 50 that was almost entirely made up of white dudes. And today, maybe that was fine back in the old days, but our whole society is sending this message. We are tired of white dudes. They are bad. So we need to push them out. And a word about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who just died. People are saying she was one of the greatest activists for equality. Well, she wants more women on the Supreme Court. But she said that she'd be okay if there were actually no men on the Supreme Court. That is total hypocrisy. How is that balanced? It's just total sexism. These people are sexist. They just want their way. Now, I agree that this list is too biased for rock, but it is Rolling Stone magazine. Look at this. Back in these antiquated days, only 12 albums that cracked the top 50 weren't by white artists. 12 is a lot. That's almost 1/4. Jesus, 1/4 is good. It would help to see the top of the list from 17 years ago. Here, number 1, Beatles, of course. And it is a great album, This is weird. I gotta check this out. I didn't think the Beach Boys are that great. Beatles, Bob Dylan, Beatles, Marvin Gaye, Rolling Stone. See, lots of Beatles, Elvis Presley, Jimi Hendrix, Nirvana, Bruce Springsteen, Van Morrison, Michael Jackson, Chuck Berry. Wait. Oh, yeah, there's some black people, but they got to compete with all this huge stuff. What are you supposed to do? Zeppelin, The Who, they're great and they're huge. Oh, some crazy stuff going on here. Dark Side of the Moon. Wait, Hendrix is black, isn't he? And look, Ray Charles, 53, just misses. Stevie Wonder just misses. Another Michael Jackson just misses. See, this site is trying to make it all about race and gender, demographic. But, the change in the list isn't because they had it wrong back then. They were so unwoke. No, that's not what happened. What happened is things just changed. It doesn't have to be about race and gender. Number 4, women rise in the ranks. Not because Rolling Stone was purposely leaving them out. They're rising in the ranks because Rolling Stone is purposely pushing them in and pushing them up, like every other aspect of our culture is doing. Okay, let's read. When you compare the two lists, it's obvious that women's music story was blah, 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 was increasing, taken with greater consideration. Ouch. Read that next line. I'm not going to read that out loud. Who's the sexist ones? Gender baiting. This website's no better than Rolling Stone. See, look at this. Look at this. Adele sits at 137, knocking Elton John out of that spot. It's not about spots. The list is based on a whole bunch of criteria, maybe algorithms, and maybe thousands of people. Amy Winehouse. I don't know her, so I can't say anything bad. Beyonce is a newer artist, but I don't get her yet. Aretha Franklin knocked, but she's always been on the list. Fleetwood Mac, look at this, fronted by Stevie Nicks. Come on. The band had 3 different singers, one of them male. It just, their album just moved up in the ranks. Let's just skim through this crap. And number 5, many classic albums fell off the list. Well, they had to, but one of them made it onto the list. I think it's about time I mention the good news. This goes back to the criteria of enjoyment.